Well, good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee. I'm Keith Reynolds, your host. As usual, I have my co-host here, Charlene Chamberlain. Good morning.
Good morning, Keith. How are you this morning?
Good, good. Especially, you know what? I know we have a special guest here, and they're talking about my favorite thing.
Every guest is special.
That's true. That's true. So what's going on today?
Today, our special guest is Mr. Kevin Berry. And Kevin is an entrepreneur and the owner of the Berry Brand Hotel Coffee. It's organic, it's fair trade, and he claims that there is 100 years of hospitality in every cup.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Kevin. It's
Hello.
nice to have you on Morning Coffee.
Welcome.
Good morning. Hope to be a regular.
We hope
So what do we got going on with coffee?
We got coffee. What we have is it's Berry Hotel brand coffee, which is named after my great-grandfather's hotel in Athens, Ohio.
Let's hold it up.
And my great-grandfather was the first person in America to put closets, Bibles, and sewing kits in hotel rooms.
That's amazing. Bibles. That's amazing.
Bibles. Do you
Little
know
known
there's
fact.
Bible in every
In every
Hotel
room.
room.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Closets, how about
And
that? Who would have
closets.
thought? Yeah.
Well, back in those days, I mean, they just had a tiny little closet that was only about 7 or
Yeah.
8 inches deep and about this wide with 2 or 3 hooks because the women back then had maybe 2 or 3 dresses, one for church, one for
Same
their
with the
working
men.
around the house, the men the same thing, so they didn't need the excessiveness that we ladies and men have today as far as closets go.
Right.
But that's very interesting that hotel rooms did not have closets back then.
That's right. So when I started thinking about the coffee business, I wanted something unique and to carry on the legacy of the hotels, which is interesting that I've worked hotels on and off all my life, and I really enjoy working hotels.
It must be like an innate thing.
Yes.
You know,
and
handed down.
I think so. And I was talking to my uncle, and he was telling me, Granddaddy, owned a hotel, and I started doing a lot more research about that. And it was just interesting that I had been in the hotel business, which is where I met some other very interesting people that were in the hotel business. Purchasing a company here in South Jersey, and after talking with them over some months, I asked him, "Can you get me a organic bean? Can you get me some coffee?"
Right.
And they were working on a couple of projects, and they were abroad, and they said, we can. And that was the birth of Berry Hotel brand coffee. And I started out with some beans from Nicaragua, and then I got some from Peru and some beans from Mexico, the dark roast bean. And I wanted it to be, special, the free trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very important in the country, but it also brings a taste with it, because the free trade, which brings a lot of sustainability and a lot of other things to the country, but the people that actually grow the coffee
The
beans
farmers.
and the farmers they take a real personal approach to their coffee, and it's personal to them. It's funny, I met a gentleman from Honduras just last week, and we're talking about getting some coffee beans there, and he says that he wants to get it brought in directly, because right now they sell it to somebody else, and they don't see a lot of profit, and they feel like they're just kind of working for that company.
Right.
But also, more than likely, it's shade grown, which helps
What's
save
that mean? What does that mean?
It's grown in the shade. They don't
Okay.
cut down the canopy. Next to the Amazon, Mexico has the largest rainforest canopy in the world, and a lot of people don't realize that. But if you're cutting down that canopy in these countries, it goes on about the birds, where the birds are going to go.
Sure.
It cuts down the wildlife population.
Yeah, it actually disrupts the ecosystem.
It does.
Yeah.
And so we want to preserve that as much as possible.
So the coffee is actually grown under that canopy
Correct.
or in the shade?
Correct.
Okay.
Generally speaking, I can't say, because
Right.
there's a lot of farms that you work with, and some obviously are out, you know, in.
So does that affect the?
area.
Yeah, does that affect the flavor?
That's to be debated. I
Okay.
think so. I think it does.
Because if the plants and vines the plants are getting more sunshine,
Well,
but then if they're
yeah.
under the canopy, the oxygen is,
Well, that's a whole nother thing, because then you have the plants that, you know, that are on top, the leaves
Right.
that are on top. It's like tobacco.
Right,
The
you're
leaves
right.
up top are, I think they're used for the wrapper, and then the ones on the bottom are actually the ones that actually have that they use for the tobacco.
Right.
So it has a lot to do with the processing, hand-picked, you know, that whole thing there. And it's also USDA organic,
That's nice.
so I have this dual certification.
That's great.
Fair trade certification and the USDA certification. And right now, I'm concentrating really on single origin.
Okay.
So this is not a blend. This is straight
Nice.
Mexican beans,
Right.
fair trade and organic, from either Mexico or Nicaragua currently. I did have some other varieties, but they weren't certified free trade and organic, and that is where I'm at right now.
Sure.
That's the product that I want to produce.
Uh-oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
Oh. Don't you just love it?
Wow.
I don't even have to drink it. I can just do that all day.
It's
And
such,
I like to drink it, but
Yeah.
I could smell
Which
it all
one? Is
day.
that the dark roast? Is that the same one or?
This
that is the
is
dark
the
roast,
dark
yeah,
roast.
and the one's grounded in
Oh.
case we
Oh,
want
okay.
to share. Yeah, open that up and see the
Oh,
beans.
can't wait. I can smell it through the bag.
Yeah.
Great.
And what's really neat also, the other things, when I started getting into the organic, what's really interesting is, do you know, on commercially harvested coffee, that they use up to 250 pounds per acre of pesticides and fertilizers?
No, I had no idea.
So if you're drinking coffee every day,
You're
and you think
ingesting
that
that.
jittery feeling is from the caffeine, guess again. It's
Really?
probably from the chemicals.
Wow.
I was rushed one day and
Oh, this is awesome.
was going to work and stopped at the local convenience store and had a cup of coffee. I had a half
How
a
was
cup.
that?
I had a half a
Yours.
cup of coffee, and I gotta tell you, I was jittery. I just felt sick. I
Yeah.
just didn't, I didn't feel good. So that's something that a lot of people don't think about. And I also do a Swiss water process
What's that?
decaffeinated
I'm
coffee.
familiar with that. We talked about this.
Yes,
prior.
we did.
A lot
And there's a
people
lot
don't
of
know
people
this.
Explain that. I don't know what that is.
Well, a lot of people can't do caffeine or like the flavor of coffee. And caffeine uses chemicals. Your standard decaffeinated coffee uses chemicals
Right, to
to
decaffeinate.
decaffeinate it.
Same with
which-
tea. Yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't, if you think about it.
What are you doing?
You're using chemicals to decaffeinate it, so you get the caffeine out, but you're adding chemicals, more chemicals, and not really good chemicals to it. So, the Swiss water process is a patented process that uses water from Sweden, of course. Water, not from Sweden, but the process was developed
In
there.
Sweden.
And they use and it's not a cheap process, but basically what it does is it uses water to extract the caffeine from the bean, and then it's rejuvenated somehow. I have, if you go to my website at berryhotelbrandcoffee.com, I do have some examples of the process there. And it's really neat how they do it. But now you have a coffee that's 99.9% decaffeinated,
Pure, and it's
Pure.
pure. It's clean coffee.
and it's clean coffee, and you could drink it all day.
Right.
It's something that I really want to spend this year getting out to more, the knowledge out to more medical facilities and
Oh,
doctors.
that's a great idea.
that-
Because, you know-
that they can offer a coffee to their patient that they can drink. Because, they're going to tell you, you got to lay off the coffee. A lot of
No, you
that's
don't.
probably because of the chemicals, but the other
Right.
point is, now you can drink coffee that doesn't have the caffeine.
Right.
And-
And it's still chemical free.
And it's chemical free.
Yes.
Great.
Now, it's funny, because you look into chemicals and this and that, and I was saying chemical free for a long time. It's chemical free of the bad chemicals. And, because.
Just sort of like
Because
wine.
coffee has, like 1,500 different chemicals in it. It's a very interesting, item, commodity there. So it does have, coffee has chemicals, but it does, it's just like meat or anything else. It's the free range,
Right.
grass fed.
Right.
That has the good omegas that you want. If you're going to eat meat.
Right.
But again, the bad meat is the stuff with the steroids and
Yes.
antibiotics that they put in the meat, which
Right.
I've all but cut out.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you
too.
very much.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to get into the dairy thing.
No, don't.
Yeah, okay.
We could be here for a whole day.
Yes, but I got to tell you, I went shopping the other day locally, and I had to go down 2 sizes
Well, that's
on
good.
my on my pants. So
okay.
That's always a good thing.
that's not a bad thing. So eating healthy, doing the organic thing has really changed my life. I got to tell you, it's changed it in so many ways.
And
Yeah.
is that because of your involvement and your brainchild here, Berry Hotel
It is.
and Coffee? Is that kind of what started you more in a health
Yeah,
kick?
the organic thing was just kind of a niche, and I tell you, the more I read about it, in the chemicals, like I said, 250
Scary.
pounds of
That's
chemicals.
scary.
And you know what's really scary? You're buying these coffees coming from these different countries who, guess what? Don't have the same regulation
Oh, right.
Absolutely.
as,
Yeah.
as U.S.
Absolutely.
companies.
That's
So,
right.
uh,
Who knows what's really in there?
yeah, who knows what
Yeah.
chemicals are in there? I mean, I don't know. Is DDT illegal in other countries? I don't know. So that you're drinking chemicals, folks.
Right.
Make no mistake.
But with this coffee, chemical-free, you can have caffeine-free,
Right.
USDA organic.
You can, and you know what, I'm a coffee drinker, and I've had organic coffee, and you can tell
Taste
the
the
difference.
difference.
You can taste
It's
the
very
difference.
clean coffee. You don't get the jitters. That's why
That's
I was
very true.
amazed.
It
You
is.
do not get the jitters from it. It's just really clean. And you don't get and quite honestly, you know what? I've had issues with dark roasted
Intestinal
because of
or
the,
just
I won't
bothering
name the big coffee house out there that gives, but that really burnt. It really is upset my stomach. And I know a lot of
Yeah.
friends that just can't drink that
Well,
coffee.
we
Me
talked
too.
about it
Yeah.
because first of all, you want a roaster that's been around for a while. You just don't want to start going out. But you have what you call the first crack and then the second crack. The
Of the
Nicaraguan's a
bean?
different
Is
bean.
that like the bean?
Yes,
Or- okay.
when you're roasting it.
Okay.
So the Mexican coffee that I bring in, we go for the second crack, just right after the second crack to get that dark roasted flavor. But we talked about this. The other big house out there, they go way past the second crack.
Why
And
would
actually-
they though? It's
Well,
just-
the darker, my theory is if it's a darker, really dark, past dark, almost a burnt
It's burned. I don't
type.
like the taste.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're gonna add a lot of sugar, you're gonna add a lot of
Right.
milk, a lot of creamery, and you can do some
Right.
things with it that,
Or unhealthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I think what happens is that, you know what, I mean, look, God bless them, they've captured a market that where
Yes.
people are not drinking the traditional coffee. Everything's a
Yeah.
frappuccino, this or that, and
Some
that. So a
have
lot of that gets
fancy
covered up.
Right.
drink.
But if you're
You're
a coffee
right.
drinker like I am, just strictly no sugar,
Me
no
too.
cream.
I like it black and dark.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what, it's a little bit much, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of acid in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it affected me to where I had to change.
Yeah, I can't.
and
you know.
from what I understand, it might have, and I'm sure it will be changing a little by little, but less than 3% of their coffee is organic.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big
It
difference.
really is.
And that's really not very much.
Well, you know what? We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in 90 seconds.
Okay, see.
My name is Karonda Jones. I'm the owner of Kitty Academy of Mount Laurel, New Jersey. The 4 pillars of life essentials are developmentally appropriate curriculum, technology, health and fitness, and character education.
They give great attention to each child, and my kids are happy at the end of the day. Academically, exposing them to the state curriculum early, he's getting the exposure with the alphabet and the numbers and reading and writing, so I'm really confident in him going to the next level.
This year they did little pictures with the kids, and they made like popsicle sticks and made their own frames, and it had a little picture. They were holding a picture that said, "I love you, Daddy," and literally that morning I melted. Everybody's friends here. Yeah, it's not like he comes home every day crying about the bully. It's like everyone's buddies.
The worst part about Kitty Academy is trying to get my kids to come home at the end of the day. They have so much fun.
Well, welcome back to Morning Coffee. I'm Keith Reynolds, here with my co-host Charlene Chamberlain, and our coffee expert here.
coffee expert.
Kevin
Morning
Berry.
coffee guy. Yeah.
So, Kevin, where can folks find, we talked a little bit about the coffee and got a little bit of education. Where can they find your brand?
Of course, on our website,
Which is?
BerryHotelBrandCoffee.com. And locally here at Ralph's Market, Flying Feather Farms,
Oh,
Fresh Produce of Palmyra,
okay.
and a few other local places. Most of the places that carry my coffee, they don't. That's the only coffee they carry, which
That's
is a neat
nice.
thing. And it's a commodity. The items switch, which kind of makes it unique. I'm pretty much the dark roast and my Nicaraguan are staples, but every now and then, like I said, I've got a deal on working to get some Honduras coffee from Honduras. Got some Ethiopian, some Kenya coffees. But I really try to stick to something that I can see through as far as being certified organic and free trade.
Yeah, that's great.
There are a few certification places out there that we deal with, but I feel very comfortable with USDA.
Now,
Absolutely.
and they can order this online?
They can.
Okay.
They
All right.
can do that. And there's also a place there to contact me. I'm finding that shipping it direct is pretty neat way to do business. The coffee store is up.
So
That's
what's,
great.
and just one last question, what's the turnaround time? So I go on the website today, I order some coffee,
Usually it's about a week.
about a week?
About a week.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
And are
And
you accessible too? If someone has a coffee question for you, can they
they
reach out
do.
to
They
you?
can reach out. I have a new website which I'm encouraging people to go to.
And what's the web address? for
Let's
that?
do Jersey.com. Okay, and I have a lot of information, not just about coffee, but about eating right, staying healthy, and nutrition. And also I have a meetup group. We meet up about once every 2 weeks and talk about eating healthy and
Exercise,
organic
yeah.
and exercise and all that.
Oh, that sounds great.
So let's do Jersey.com.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Well, we're going to be back in 90 seconds, and I already hear our next guest.
You hear
I
them?
heard them.
Uh-oh.
I heard them. They're here.
That sounds a little scary,
Yep,
but
so
interesting.
I know they're in the building.
They
So
are?
we'll be back
They?
in 90 seconds. Yep.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.